afternoon. Today we are answering CO69 and 70 so we can be ready for our test. Practice test is on Tuesday next week. I will not be here since I will be at the funeral. So if you have questions on the practice test, you will have a chance to ask those questions on Wednesday before we take the real test. So let's look at our CO69. We were talking about solving for an unknown angle in a triangle or quadrilateral. Important things to take note. Triangles always, all three angles equal 180 degrees. Quadrilateral, all four angles always add up to 360 degrees. It is important to know those. So let's look at our angle measurements. We did the top two together. The bottom two. The triangle is missing a 105-degree angle, and the quadrilateral is missing a 20-degree angle. On our second page, we are missing a 17-degree angle, a 35-degree angle, a 60-degree angle, and these two are both 80 degrees. They are congruent. They need to be the same. Dominic, I love that you are confident in your answers, but you must follow along as the rest of us. We have a whole nother objective we are correcting. For our review, adjacent angles. We don't have to put an angle degree in there because adjacent angles don't have to equal anything specific. We do need to have a line showing that they share a side. Jude. Yeah, Mr. Schultz made this answer key. Mr. Schultz went too fast with it. For our isosceles triangle, you must not just draw a triangle. You need to prove that it is an isosceles. So two angles are congruent. Two sides are congruent. You can show that by our notch marks. You could show that by the measurements being two are the same and one is different. Either way is acceptable. For a pentagon, you must show five-sided polygon. I just need to be able to look at it and count your five sides. Doesn't matter what the shape looks like as long as it is five sides. For a concave hexagon, you must have six sides and you must show a cave-in. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there is a cave-in. For complementary angles, you must show two angles that add together to be 90 degrees. Does not need to be adjacent. I made mine adjacent. Either way works. But you must show that two angles together equals 90 degrees. For a right scaling triangle, you must show all three sides are different sizes. And you must show there's a right angle here. Technically, on the test, I will expect you to have degrees for the other two angles to show all three together equal 180 degrees. So I'll wait. When you are dealing with angles in a triangle, always label all three angles to show that they equal 180 degrees. Any questions on CO69? Show me your thumbs. How are we feeling about that one? Beautiful. Let's move on to CO70. CO70. I can determine whether polygons are congruent, similar, or neither. Remember, if they are congruent, they are identical. Same length sides, same degree angles. Identical. You can't just look at it and say, well, they look to be the same. You have to see the numbers are all exactly the same. So you got your two angles, and you can prove that they are congruent sides. You can prove congruent angles. Corresponding sides, corresponding angles are congruent. Okay? So it doesn't have, when I say congruent, it doesn't have to be a square where every single side is the same. Like corresponding sides, corresponding angles are congruent. Similar polygons. So For congruent polygons, we can say same shape, same size. Similar, same shape, their angles are all congruent, but different size. They are proportional. So big thing to know for the similar is those corresponding sides are proportional. Every single side. So when we match up those sides, we divide them all down to the same decimal. Okay? They all divide down to 2. They all divide down to 0.33. Those corresponding sides have to be proportionate. So on the bottom, we could prove that 12 over 4, 15 over 5, 9 over 3, they all divide down to 3. So it is similar. They are proportionate. For these two, if we flip this shape, every side, corresponding side, is the same measurement. So it is congruent. I think we did bottom two together last class. All right. Draw and label. Again, you cannot just draw triangles and say, oh, they look to be the same, so I'm calling them the same. No, we have to prove it. So you had to prove either by writing in the measurements or using your congruent notches or arcs. So if they are congruent, they are identical. Identical numbers, identical arcs or notches. If they are similar, we know that each angle corresponds exactly the same, but our sides would be proportionate. So I could say this is 9, this is 3. Let's call it 4.5. I'm going to make this easier for me. So if this was 8, this would be 4. And if this is 6, this would be 3. So they are proportionate. So you do need to show proportions in your sides. Make sense? All right, neither, his example here does not show that they are different. You need to show that the sides are not proportionate. All right, any questions on the top? Okay, middle section, determining if they are proportionate or not. Our first set of triangles are neither. They are not proportionate. This next one, they are similar. This bottom left is they are similar. And the last one, they are congruent. Any questions on those? Remember, you must find all corresponding sides to be proportional. If 3 of them are proportional and that last one is not, it is not a similar polygon. They all must be proportional. So you have to do all that math. For our review, a convex octagon has 8 sides and none of them are caved in. A linear pair, you need to prove that it equals 180 degrees on a line adjacent angles. An obtuse isosceles triangle, we have our obtuse angle with 2 other angles that are congruent, because if our 2 sides are congruent, our 2 angles must be congruent. How many degrees are in a triangle? 180. How many degrees are in a quadrilateral? 360. Any questions? Okay. Remember, if you have missing POs, those are due before the year is done, or you must set up time with Mr. Schultz in order to go into pre-algebra. This is our last retake Friday. Next week Friday is fun and field day. We will see if we can have a retake that last week of school, if we need to retake our Math 6 Review 10 or our Pre-Algebra Review 9. So we will try to get a retake day in for that if we need it. I'm sorry, still talking. Math packet number 12s are due today. So make sure your name is on it and it is turned in. Packet number 12 is due today by the end of class. So if you're working on it during class time, you can do that. You are going to review this unit on your own and make your own help sheet, because I need to do retakes for people that need retakes. So you are reviewing and making your own card. Fiona.
What objective does it start on?
So if you go to the very front of your binder, you should have, my binder doesn't have it, but you should have a table of contents. So what, somebody just said it. What is it? CO64. So if you're ever wondering, always just look at your table of contents. Addie.
I turned my math packet into you on Wednesday and I never got it back.
Okay, so is this something that we need to ask about during the recording, or can it wait until we're done?
I didn't know you were still recording.
Yep.
I couldn't see the thing.
Sweetie, just wait. So, Tuesday, you are responsible for reviewing and having your help sheet ready. I will not be here because I will be at the funeral. You will have your practice test and your answer key. If you have questions when we come on Wednesday, I will answer any questions and then I will pass the test out. Okay, your responsibility if you don't get POs done. I'm after school Wednesday or Thursday of next week. You can do those with me Wednesday or Thursday. I will have one of the days that last week of school will be retakes for people that need to retake the Math 6 or the PAR reviews. Are there any questions that our friends at home might have that you need to ask now? All right, if you are listening to this at home, I hope you are well. I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.